Hi, I'm Allison Cedar, and I'm an artist who moonlights as a full-time bookkeeper, and I have a child who's now 3 years old. Back in January of 2023, I started this challenge called the 20 for 20 Art Challenge, and it was run by the Learn to Paint podcast. And the idea is you work on a project for 20 minutes a day for 20 days, and after 20 minutes, you take a picture of your progress, and then you can either stop or keep going, but you're only committing to 20 minutes. What I didn't expect was just how much of an impact this would have on my art projects, especially as a mom with a toddler who works full-time. I don't have a lot of time to myself in the day. So when I put together a schedule of all my obligations and responsibilities to see what time I had available to do stuff that was just for me, almost every minute of my day was spoken for. The only time I had to myself when I wasn't needed by anyone and no one could interrupt me was my 1 hour lunch break at work. See, the thing is, I love creating, and it bums me out when I go for long periods without creating anything. So with such a packed schedule, you can imagine how difficult it is for me to find time for art. I used to feel like I needed large blocks of uninterrupted time to be able to make progress on my art projects. But after trying this challenge, I realized I could get a lot more done in 20 minutes than I initially thought was possible. Actually, I think 20 minutes was probably the perfect amount of time for me to be able to make progress on my art without it feeling like a burden. I took the challenge, I did it, 20 minutes a day for 20 days. I was surprised with how much progress I made. I decided to continue with this, what I now call daily 20 concept, and I've been able to do it pretty consistently for all of 2023 to the point where it's now become a part of my daily routine. So I wanted to show you guys exactly what I did to establish this daily art habit, and maybe you'll feel empowered to give it a try yourself. But before we get into it, as a disclaimer, I started taking antidepressants in March of 2022, and it really increased my capacity to be able to establish a more consistent routine and be able to add more tasks into that routine without it feeling so overwhelming. So if what I'm telling you in this video feels like too much for you, it's okay, and I completely understand. To be clear, I'm not encouraging everyone to get on antidepressants, but if you are like how I was in the past, where adding a 10 to 20 minute task into your routine feels like too much of a burden on your mental and emotional health, it might be worth looking into that with a doctor or a qualified health professional. With that in mind, I want to share with you a quote that gave me the push of encouragement that I needed from Darren Hardy's book called The Compound Effect. Suppose you've always wanted to play the piano, but it feels too late because you're about to turn 40. If you start now, by the time you're retirement age, you could be a master, as you'll have been playing for 25 years. The key is to start now. Every great act, every fantastic adventure starts with small steps. So when I first started this challenge, I had to be disciplined with my schedule to be able to create space for drawing time in my morning routine. My husband had been called back into the office when I first started this challenge, and he had a very long commute, and I started having to take my daughter into daycare, so I had to make sure everything was done earlier than before. So we were all pretty tired, and I had to make sure that all of the essential tasks to keep our house running got done. So my morning routine started in the evening before I went to bed. I have a short list of chores that help me to have a smooth, stress-free morning and allow me to be able to sit down and have that focused time without having a ton of things pulling at my attention. Keep in mind, this footage of me doing things is not a reenactment because I do not have time for that, as we already established. So I don't look good in these clips, just saying. So before I go to bed, here is my list of chores. Unload and reload the dishwasher.
Pages in my journal, and then I can share them video.
Put in a detergent pack for the morning. Pack lunches. Set up the coffee. Wipe down the counters. Sort laundry, and put a load of dirty laundry in a basket. Pick out my outfit for the next day. So then in the morning, here's how my routine goes. I wake up, go downstairs, run the dishwasher, start a load of laundry, actually fix my coffee and sit down, play an audiobook, and while the audiobook is playing, I draw for 20 minutes. If I have time after that daily 20, then I will stretch, and I will fold and put away the laundry. Then I go upstairs, I get dressed, makeup, get my child up, get them dressed, we're out the door, we're going to school. When I started doing this challenge, I noticed how difficult it was to concentrate on drawing. After only 5 or 10 minutes, I would wonder if I was done, and I realized I still had 10 more minutes to go. But after a few weeks, I started to enjoy the process, and once I had checked the clock and I realized that I had already been drawing for 25 minutes. Forcing myself to draw on such a regular basis has been keeping me from getting rusty, which makes the overall process of creating more enjoyable. It's been easier to get into a flow state where ideas for what to draw and how to execute it flow more easily. I started tracking the time that I was spending on projects in an app called Toggle. By making this a part of my everyday routine, I've managed to fit 82 hours of art making time in 2023. The fact that those 20-minute sessions over a year added up to 82 hours just blows my mind. Imagine if I had never done that challenge. In years past, I would have just been wishing I had more time for art. I would try to block out an hour on the weekend or a full afternoon of painting, but it would always get pushed off for more urgent tasks like chores or higher priority tasks like family time. In previous years, I probably would have spent 1 to 4 hours total in the year on art. And I was frustrated because I couldn't figure out how to fit in more time on my projects with my daily obligations. But just by drawing for 20 minutes in the morning before I go to work, I managed to fit in 82 hours of art time. And that feels really good. So over time, as I grew more accustomed to having that drawing time in the morning, I was able to relax my schedule a bit because now it's a part of my routine and I don't have to think about it as much. So later in the year, I decided that I would only make a commitment to drawing on weekdays before work, and on the weekend I would draw if I had time in the morning. Most of this I do on weekdays, and even then, sometimes I just don't have the time and energy to do it all. Sometimes everyone in the house gets sick and I fall off the wagon, and it takes a week or two to get back on track. Sometimes I go on a weekend trip and it throws a wrench in the whole routine for the whole week afterwards. Life happens and things are constantly changing, especially when you have kids in the house. If you try this and you fall off the wagon, cut yourself some slack. Tomorrow is a new day and you can always try again. The last tips that I'll give you if you decide to try this challenge are apps that help to encourage me to keep going with this challenge. The first app is called Everyday, which tracks how consistently I am completing habits that are important to me. And you can see certain areas here where everyone in the house got sick. See that right there? That's the week after we went on a weekend trip to Mexico. There are plenty of times that I don't get to do my daily 20, but now that it's become a habit for me, I'm able to do it a lot more often than not. In 2023, I completed 216 days of drawing. That's 2/3 of the year. The second app that I'll recommend is called Toggle. I mentioned it earlier. This is a time tracking app that you can use to track how much time you're spending on certain tasks or projects, and you can use that information to bill clients if you have any. I just use it to track how much time I spend on things like drawing or YouTube. So that way I can pull a report and see exactly how much time I spend drawing over a certain period of time. And it helps to motivate me to keep going because I can see the amount of time I have put into my project growing throughout the year. Before I go, I want to leave you with one more quote from Austin Kleon's book, Show Your Work. I think this pretty much sums up what this challenge has done for my art practice. People often ask me, how do you find the time for all this? And I answer, I look for it. You find the time in the same place you find spare change, in the nooks and crannies. You find it in the cracks between the big stuff, your commute, your lunch break, the few hours after your kids go to bed. You might have to miss an episode of your favorite TV show. You might have to miss an hour of sleep. But you can find the time if you look for it. If you're stuck in the trap of wishing you had more time for your creative projects like I was, I encourage you to give the 20 for 20 challenge a try. Just commit to the 20 minutes a day for 20 days and see how it changes your art practice. I think you'll be surprised by the results. Until next time, don't forget your daydream, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.